simply put, bend the knee, because we keep talking about like this deal happened and this label wants this to happen. It's just like, do what the platforms and the labels want you to do, because like a very simple thing that I just mentioned is like TikTok battles. TikTok themselves really wanted battles to be a thing, and so they were gonna push that. So do the thing that's trending and do what the like Big Brother wants you to do, because it's gonna get pushed naturally in the algorithm. Kind of got into the music world the same way that 90% of producers do nowadays, or at least a combination of it. I feel like everyone's either seen like the John Bellion behind the scenes things or the internet money tutorials way back in the day. And so obviously YouTube was just like the rabbit hole of like I just kind of found out what making beats was, and I liked it. I'm like, dang, I want this to be my career. So grinded that in high school and college a little bit, dropped out after 3 semesters in college because I started to sell, a couple $1,000s of beats per month on YouTube, and through that I just started working with a couple like independent artists that I was able to get some good streaming records on. The first couple being Weston Estate. I produced Fresh Air and Hypnotized for them. I got like a random Guap Dead 4000 cut. Yeah, Marco Luca, Big Talk. That was kind of the early stuff.
Yeah,
and then once I started doing that, I kind of got to know people like you and just a bunch of people through like the loop making community, the producer Twitter community. And I was like, okay, cool. I want to like take my career to the next level, chase some placements, like network, do all that stuff. So around when COVID happened, it actually turned out that the cheapest like option for me moving out of my parents' house after dropping out of college was to go to LA, because my other options were Austin and Nashville, and I had one roommate lined up in both of those cities, but despite LA's higher prices, I had a third, like an additional roommate there, so like rent would be cheaper, split 3 ways instead of 2 ways. So I was like, cool, let's do LA. Ended up going out there, signing a bad deal, just like everyone does going into the industry. It's a rite of passage.
Yep.
Yeah, but obviously that taught me lessons, and I ended up getting a song with Sleepy Hollow through like a loop website, and that was kind of my first introduction into the industry. I obviously got to be a part of the gold Still Sleep album with 2055 on it, and so then all of a sudden I get to put gold producer in my bio, and that's like a achievement, I guess, for me that I'm hinging my career on. Continuing to do the YouTube thing, and then randomly, I'm sure a lot of people in the producer world know Wylo. Me and him were collabing on some loops, and some random Brazilian producer artist combo used it, and the song blew up down in Brazil, got 200 million streams, and that was kind of my first hit, so to speak. Got the plaque on my wall up there, 200 million streams. I'm sure it's more now.
Million. It's crazy amount of streams, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And Wylo's the go. I still work with Wylo to this day.
Yeah, he's great. I remember he used to go by Wyler, and he was doing like loop packs on YouTube, just like
I did not know that. I did not know that. I did not know that history.
Yeah, but yeah. So then Seth Got the Waves was sending me some guitar loops, and I ended up using one because it was like part of like a 2C like no cap kind of pack, and I'm like, this kind of sounds country. So I said, shoot, I don't know anybody uploading like Luke Combs type beats on YouTube, so let me try. I like put together some one shots and made a terrible country beat, but it was the only Luke Combs type beat that I knew of, and so it did decently well. And then this country artist Kid G found it, and he had some Nashville session players go and remake it. And then obviously me and Seth ended up getting producer credit along with Jake Mark on that one, and that was my introduction to the country music scene. And just kind of through that and all the people that I met, just falling in love with country music after that, I said, screw it, I'm moving to Nashville. This is now, I've fallen in love with Nashville, and this is where I want to spend the rest of my life. There's so many artists and writers. I've honestly become a writer, a songwriter, like lyrics, melody, all of that, just as much as I am a producer. Even launched my own artist project down here now, and I'm just kind of grinding the Nashville 10-year town game right now.
It's really interesting to hear that between LA and Nashville, what are the differences there? Do you find it more exciting, or is it just that the genre fits better for you, and that's probably what did it?
No, I mean, I think the culture fits better. I think that in LA, it's very much a culture of like, what can you do for me, or like, who can you put me in a room with? And like a lot of the times, just the conversations that were going on during like studio sessions. We're literally supposed to be working on music. Was just like, oh, I know this guy. Oh, okay, well, I did this for him. It was just like a name dropping contest. Whereas like, I don't know, like sessions here, instead of being first of all, huge difference is they start at 10 p.m. in LA. They start at 10 a.m. in Nashville.
Okay.
So it's like here, we go in, we write the song, and then that's it. Like, yeah, we talk a little bit during the session, but like the main focus is writing the song. And I've made plenty of friendships that way, that then we go and do the friend stuff and the talking about life and, or, you know, whatever mutuals we have in common. I was going to say off the court, like out of the studio. I say off the court because one of my best buddies out here, Lenny Pay, I just kind of randomly had a writing session with him at Curb, and then saw him a week later at a basketball court, and I'm like, yo, didn't I just write with you? And then now we've just been playing every day. So like that's the kind of like people that are here. It's like we're not trying to use each other. We're all here for the same reason. And like if you're not there to make music, you're kind of gonna just probably not be invited back into the session.
Yeah, that's wild. That is a huge difference. And honestly, to me, that sounds like better music's going to be, well, probably right now is, I haven't been as tapped in as I was telling you, but better music's got to be coming out of Nashville. I know a lot of people have already been moving out of LA, but I mean, that to me as a creative process sounds way better. Yeah.
Yeah, we almost got Jakey Crum out here to move with Jeb. I don't know if you know him, but him and his brother Jared, they're pop writers out in LA. They work a lot with like Nick Naracina and that YouTuber Bankroll Hayden and them. And we were really trying to sell them on Nashville, and we almost had them, but then they were like, nah, I can't leave LA.
Damn. Did they come down visit at least?
Yeah. It was like probably 3 weeks here. Yeah, Hayden. This is so funny. So Hayden was staying at my boy Caleb's house, and we all went to Midtown. Red Door's like a famous Nashville like bar that like I guess a lot of writers and singers hang out at. And so we all went there and we had a great time. Jakey got kicked out of Red Door because he wasn't 21. But then we're walking down the street and I see just one of my buddies here. He's a singer, and all of a sudden he's like, yo, is that Bankroll Hayden? And he starts fanning out, and we're like, yeah, we're about to go to Broadway. Broadway, I'm sure everyone knows, is like a very busy street. It's like the place in Nashville to go out if you're a tourist. We were like, yeah, like you want to come with us? And he's like, nah, there's a girl else waiting on me in Red Door. He was like fanning out on the street because Hayden was just there. He was just like, yo, is this just like Hayden? Which is not the artist we expect to see in Nashville. He's like very much an LA guy.
Right. Yeah. That guy must have been totally, psyched. Tell me more about, like, the last time we left off was LA, and then go a little bit more into details about that transition. You were mainly putting out more country beats, and nobody else was really doing that I knew. And then now you're already all the way to your own artist endeavor, and you're already putting out content for that. Why did you even choose to go these routes?
Yeah, well, I knew that like everything lined up for me to just not be in LA anymore when I decided to. Like Jeb was my roommate at the time. His like dad had a health complication, and he's good now, but like obviously Jeb wanted to go be closer to him and just like be with him in that time. So he was like, gotta move out. So then I was like, okay, either I gotta pay an insane amount of rent for a 1-bedroom, or I gotta replace him like on short notice with somebody that I don't really know that well in LA. And I was like, I had already consciously made the decision. I'm like, I'm terminating this bad deal I'm in. I kind of had, like, around that same time, had the realization that it was bad and that they were taking advantage of me. And then my girl broke up with me like a month before that. So I'm like, okay, there's nothing left for me in the city. So I made the decision to move back. And I spent about 2 years in North Carolina, between Wilmington and Raleigh, because I didn't really know what I was like. All right, I had Kadoku was like my main artist, and he was in Raleigh at the time. So I'm like, okay, cool. I think I could be in Raleigh for the rest of my life, just kind of doing the internet producer thing, and then developing the handful of artists, including Kadoku, like as my career, and then like, you know, sending loops, get placements that way. And then a couple of my friends had moved to Nashville and started having success there. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll take a couple trips. Cause like, I'm living in Raleigh, but I can still take trips out to Nashville or even LA to, Atlanta, whatever, to just link up with like internet friends and stuff like that. Because my dream all the way as a kid was just like, screw this. Like I wanted like make beats and sell them on YouTube and play video games for the rest of my life. Like that sounds like the best life ever. So that was like kind of where my head was like, okay, maybe that's the life for me. I did the LA chasing placements thing. I got some placements, but I didn't like get anything life changing by any means. And then as soon as I started seeing some of my buddies from North Carolina that moved to Tennessee having writer success there, And me and Jeb were already writing our own country music, and I was like kind of developing him as well as a country artist. I was like, okay, I can't really write. I can't be a writer in Raleigh. I can be a producer in Raleigh. I can't really be a writer. So I took a couple trips, did some sessions with some artists out here, and it was the most fun I've ever had. The food out here was the best I've ever had. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I wanted to be in Raleigh for the rest of my life. And I told myself, yep, I'm not moving again. I'm not changing, but I'm like, I got to, because it's just like, it's right. So yeah, as I started falling in love with writing, more so than producing maybe at the time, because it was like the new thing to me. And I do truly think that like my natural talents are more inclined to like lyricism and just like kind of like hearing how a song can be cohesive in telling a story. I was like, I want to develop that skill. And so I kind of gravitated away from just the technical side of producing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to play guitar. I'm going to get better at keys. I'm going to learn more music theory and be able to like talk about music like from a writer perspective or an executive producer perspective, depending on how you look at that. And yeah, so that's kind of why and how I made the transition, and it felt right. And now I get to kind of do both. Like they call people track guys here. Basically, if you're in a session to like write a song and you're the producer in the room, you're the track guy, and they don't say producer because that artist, whoever the artist cut the record is, might take it to a different producer and like basically either remake or completely like change up whatever you produce, whatever like guitar you tracked and basic drums you put down, and get like live session players, real drums, all that stuff in there.
Okay.
And there's definitely some gray area where if the hired producer's like, okay, I want to keep the track very similar to what you did, maybe you guys collab together on it or whatever. There's a million ways it could go. But yeah, I kind of get to like do the technical thing. I moved over from FL Studio to Ableton because it's so much better for recording instruments and quantizing and stuff like that. And yeah, I get to like, I learned a lot about like, I don't know, the technical aspects of like real compressors. Like I was using like Pro C2. Like now I got an Apollo and I'm like using the 1176 models in LA2A, and it's like now I actually know how they work, and I obviously would love to get some hardware. I've got a Neve 1073 clone here, the Warm Audio one, and I've like gotten comfortable with that now, and it's like it feels like I'm really making music. I'm not doing the internet bedroom producer thing anymore.
That's awesome. I love to see the progression. And yeah, you're one of those guys, man. Even when I was in LA, like I couldn't believe everybody has a different way to work. Obviously with that type of thing, anything like this, you have to work hard, but you were one of the most regimented, disciplined people I saw there. I couldn't even believe it. It was super, super regimented, and you never strayed from it. So to see you doing this, and I know you're going to apply and are applying the same things to that, it's super exciting.
My logic with starting that was, as I was moving to Nashville, I was only known by like the pop and rap producers, and yeah, there was plenty of connections out there, but what I want to do is get in these rooms on Music Row and write with publishers. So the 200 million streams record I told you about, like, praise God, I was credited as a primary artist. So I was able to basically have a Spotify page that had at one point 3 million monthly listeners. I think now it's down to like 1 million monthly listeners.
It's unreal, and though. So, that's unreal.
Yeah, that was a crazy blessing. But then, so yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. I want to like show people how I can what my writing sounds like. What better way to do that than to put it out? And then I was able to get placed on like the New Music Friday country playlists and a couple of the like similar ones like that are Spotify editorials. And I had a couple publishers reached out to me from that, and that was kind of my way to just meet other writers here. And so yeah, that's kind of always been the purpose behind it, is just like 50% like that, like here's a way to find my writing so that I can help write your next record. And then 50% too, after getting out of that bad deal, I was like, it sounded really nice to just like not only own a higher percentage of like songs than like a traditional producer would own, whether it's like 3% with a major label or like 20% with an independent artist. Like I'm making these songs and owning 80% of it, and like yeah, like I have the freedom to give my co-writers, like writers don't get master points, especially not in Nashville. So it's like the fact that I can give 5-10% to a writer, and then maybe a producer helps me out on Mix the Loop or whatever is in the room with me, and I throw him 5-10-20%, just obviously all depends on the record, and I control it all. So like that was very comforting to me after giving up, well, I guess I can't go into details about my old deal, but like a large percentage of like my catalog that was being double dipped on by the same company also managing me, and then taking the management percentage after the publishing percentage, and they owned portions of my masters too. That's how bad it was. So it was like the artist thing is like, okay, it's very simple. I put out a music, I get streams, money goes directly to me. That's it. And so that was very attractive to me and comforting.
That makes sense. And you'd probably have learned the lessons from LA too, and seen all these other artists work, see what works, what doesn't work, and can actually apply some of the techniques to what you're doing in Nashville. Obviously, there's a lot of novelty. The fact that you even saw that as a path makes sense, especially when you put it like that. Okay, I can showcase my writing skills. That way I can, show these writers and get in the right rooms and get in the rooms with the right artists and the publishers and everybody. But that's a pretty interesting way to go about it. I don't know. I've never heard anyone say it like that, I've never heard anyone go for it that way.
Mm-hmm. Funny because
especially.
Like you look at that as like, I guess you're saying like a unique way to go about entering the scene that I did. And to me, I viewed it as like the only logical way that made sense to me, because now looking back and knowing a lot of people who do what's called the traditional way here, it's insane to me. Is you come to Nashville and you you DM other writers on Instagram trying to get into rooms, but like a lot of it is just like walking into the right publisher and just feeling like, yo, sign me, here's my demos. And then they put you in the rooms with the people. And that to me, that was like unheard of. That wasn't even in my mind at all. And apparently that's like the way Nashville has worked for decades.
Yo, that is interesting. Okay. Yeah, because even the way you were saying it does sound like the way you're going about it, giving points to the writers and stuff. It sounds like you are bringing a different type of energy to things.
Yeah, that's something I would love. I don't know how realistic it is, but I would just love to establish that as an industry standard. I know it's a lot less realistic from the label side, whereas I'm working with independent artists and I have that luxury. But like, if we could throw writers like a point or two, just because the streaming royalties are so much more than publishing when the song's not on radio or like getting synced. So it's just like 1%, 2% to the writers. Like they're able to build up a catalog of that. It at least is some steady income. And I don't know. I think the writers are like, I don't want to like make it a hierarchy, but just like somewhere in the realm of as valuable as the producer. And I can say that as someone who does both.
Yeah. Especially with what you've seen and everything. And I honestly, when I've seen big changes in certain industries, and it happens all the time, a lot of the time it does start with things like this where, because I've been hearing this for a long time, and a lot of the people involved in the music have been, talking about points and certain parts where they're like, okay, this doesn't really seem fair. But when people come around and kind of are generous or doing things differently, it does seem to usually start something. Even if it doesn't change the total game, it could build something very unique and very big for you, or just, I don't know, it's usually, I find it just results in something like unexpected at the very least, Yeah,
I've seen like, I think John Bellion talking about it on, I want to say George Janko's podcast or something, where he was just obviously explaining how messed up the industry is. And he's a writer first, even though he does produce as well. And I think he started a label and signed Lawrence the Band and Tori Kelly. And like, I have to imagine the way he's talking about it is like, at least, he's giving the writers maybe a point or two. And maybe in this small like mustard seed of the industry, we get some independent labels to start doing it. Maybe not Warner or Sony, but like maybe we get some like-minded people that have smaller record labels, which I think the industry is devolving to that anyways. I think it's becoming decentralized a little bit, and maybe the standard amongst the, maybe it's not independent artists anymore. It's independent labels that don't have a partnership with a major like Warner or Sony that start practicing, writers getting master points and things like that.
Yeah, I honestly wonder. I think there's so much changing right now, especially that. Yeah, we'll see how it plays. It's always hard to predict, but there's so much changing right now. There's a lot of room for disruption, and just I find that normally when these types of things are happening, it's usually when it comes to fairness or just basic logic or just a new system, it's obviously going to show up in some way that. These people, writers alone and a lot of other people have been asking for this for a while. So that's interesting. I was going to ask your opinion on the John Bellion interview too, because I saw a lot of those clips and I saw the title of the podcast. I didn't watch the whole thing myself, but it was wild to see him talk about he's always been pretty open about it, but it was wild to see him really go deeper into just those parts of the industry. Yeah, I feel like people are more open about it now. I used to try and tell artists like from here and stuff locally, but like stories and how it works in the industry and just how it is, but I don't know if they'd always believe me. And like, there's a lot of, especially at the time, there was a lot of hype and stuff they'd see online with their biggest artists.
Yeah, I've realized that it's one of those things that you have to experience it to actually get it. Because like the numbers mean nothing. Like if you would have told me like 5 years ago, or I guess like 7 years ago now, like, yeah, like you're going to sign over half your publishing and this, that, for no money, but like you're going to sign to this person, then I would have been like, yeah, well, duh, I get to sign to this person. He's a big name and they're going to like 10x my career. And then like they don't. It's like that's the question that doesn't even cross your mind. What if they don't? Right.
Yeah.
And they did,
Yeah.
What if they mess up your publishing registration and register all the songs you did under a different name, and then your publishing income comes to a halt? Like, obviously I'm not thinking about that. So then like, yeah, I had to experience it to go through it and like just kind of understand like, oh wow, it really matters if you're going to like sign a deal with somebody that like it's somebody that you trust and that like has proven themselves before you put your name on the paper.
For a while, it did seem like independent artists were making some sort of massive wave in the industry. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know how you feel about this. I felt like with all the TikTok and all that, like right now I know content's still big, but it felt like there was a moment in time where it was really exploding, and I felt like independent artists were really gonna do something crazy. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it'll happen soon, but is it back to kind of where it was? Have the labels kind of just, or is it a different world now with the content farms and like TikTok?
Yeah, I had a
farms?
really interesting conversation about this recently with my buddy Jenks. These are the kind of sessions that we have during session while we're writing here.
Fire, that's
name
so
dropping
dope.
things. So
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. Like the TikTok thing and like the content thing was exploding back then. The two names that come to mind right away are Nick D and Connor Price, who are actually like basically the main artists that I'm working with right now, or like the big artists in the independent world that I'm working with right now. I edited the 100 Problems. It was like until like last week, it was their recent single. But yeah, I think they released another one with Graham since then. And yeah, I'm definitely trying to get more with Connor, because that was a recent connection. Nick ended up introducing me to him because they're both moving out here. I guess Connor's been out here for like a year. Nick just moved out here this month. But yeah, so they like the skit thing and then like the really high quality like performance video thing was like going on TikTok for independent artists. And then my friend Jenks, when we were having this conversation, presented this idea to me that like ever since the portion of TikTok, like I don't know exactly what the deal was, but obviously like Trump was like wanting it to not be China owned, and then they made it, I want to say, some sort of deal with Oracle, and now it's like it's US owned or like it's partially US owned, that the part of the videos that get uploaded in the US is US owned. It's something like that. But basically ever since that happened, and then the deal with Universal where they were like boycotting it, their music being on the platforms, and then I guess TikTok came to some sort of agreement with them, the labels have kind of realized, okay, if we do that, we still have control. And so like now the theory, this is just his theory, is that like we're back to a place where it's not the wild, wild west anymore. It's not purely based on engagement. Like, yes, of course, those things are still going to help you do better, but like immediately the sounds on TikTok that are going to be pushed on the For You page are the ones that they have an agreement in place with the labels. And I have to say, like, I've kind of seen that, like, I could see a world where that's true. It's not necessarily a conspiracy theory. If they signed a deal, whatever's in that deal is what goes. But like, I could totally see a world. I don't know if you know who Joshua Sloan is. He's an artist that's kind of folkier. I think
I don't know him, but I'll have to listen.
I want to say Kentucky or Oklahoma, one of those two states. And yeah, he like basically just started posting like covers of like Zach Bryan, and then he teased a couple originals, and they were really good, obviously, and they like blew up like millions of views. And before he even released a single song, he was on tour with Zach Bryan, who's like one of the biggest country artists that exist. And I didn't really think anything of that other than, okay, Zach Bryan probably likes his music. And obviously he's like a relatively big artist now. He released his debut album and it did pretty well. What if he was signed before that? And that's why it all happened. And the labels were pushing his like little like nothing videos on TikTok before he was even signed, just to make it look like he was an independent, because that was like the trend. Like independent artists are blowing up, the nobodies are blowing up. And so it's like, I could totally see a world where he's right and the labels do have control. They just are making it seem like they don't and playing on.
My homie just sent me a podcast. It was about the music industry and content and TikTok. I don't want to say farms. It made sense, but I had some idea of how to market an artist some time ago, right? But this guy just put it on steroids and made a company of it. And they were talking very openly about, oh, we just go buy new phones because, they'll track the phones or whatever. So they have, their business is just a bunch of phones in their place. And what they're doing is they're saying they're creating moments, and they're the ones making all these accounts, creating organic content for artists, and it's specific art. And I think they even said, oh, we worked with like Childish Gambino and like these big artists too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it was ultra effective. I guess, I don't know if it's technically gaming the algorithm, but it was wild.
No, so that actually is like closer to what I would say is an ethical way to do it, because I know somebody who gets paid for this specific account $600 a month for a band, a relatively new band here, to just post once a day, and there's like a huge Dropbox folder of just content it's just like repurposed content. It's like they shoot a couple organic performances, get different angles, different parts of the song, concerts, all that stuff. It's just like this massive folder, and they probably have like 10 different accounts on deck just spamming content because it's a numbers game. And so it's like, and it's the unethical part is like they're pretending to be like fan accounts when really it's the label or the artist paying for it. But yeah, at the end of the day, that like it's clipping, right? It's just like they do with Aiden Ross and stuff at Twitch. That's kind of where the idea started. It's just like taking those moments that they did organically create and then just repurposing them a ridiculous amount of times until one of them goes.
I know what you're saying.
Go ahead.
I didn't even want to insinuate that that's necessarily unethical, but more so to your point, which was, okay, if these guys are doing it as a legit business, and yeah, you're right, there are definitely levels. But yeah, the labels being able to create, moments or having full control over the landscape. Because the way this guy was talking about it was that we create the trends, we create the attention, and it's very much you don't realize it. It was interesting. Again, I'm not getting conspiratorial, but yeah, the fact that the labels would want to capitalize off something like that and be totally in the behind the scenes and be able to just still be controlling people's attention makes total sense.
Yep. Same guy was doing it for Zach Top, who's a big country artist out here nowadays too. And I know an independent artist out here he's got like a distribution deal, and he's in like the right situation for where he's at in his career, like a small 7-song deal, but he doesn't have like a label powerhouse behind him. So for all intents and purposes, my buddy Bray Cook, he's independent. He released a song that he got 1 million views on a TikTok. It was such a simple TikTok. Sit in his car, yo, I'm from Springfield, Missouri. Like, this is my song. Boom. Or it's like, comment where you're from down below or whatever. Just a very simple quantity-based TikTok. And he did it like 100 times, and one of them finally popped. 1 million views. And we're sitting there. I think it had a really good conversion rate too, like 70,000 likes. And we're like, okay, cool. Like Bray's finally going. Let's go. We expect it to like kind of take off a little bit. And then for the next 2-3 weeks, the Spotify stream count still hasn't hit 1,000. Literally 1,000. 1 million views on TikTok doesn't convert to 1,000 streams nowadays. Are you kidding me?
Dude,
so something's going on.
I can't even believe that's real, bro. What?
See where he's at. Yeah.
I haven't even promoted an artist single in a minute, so I wanted to get in touch with it again and see what the landscape is. That's nuts, bro. That's crazy. I would have.
Yeah, 1.6 million views. It's actually only got 25,000 likes, so that is a piss poor conversion rate on the likes, but it should definitely result.
Yo, man, 25,000 likes. Yeah, that should definitely have more. That doesn't make sense. I'm so confused.
Yeah, the song's only got 15,000 to this day. And I think that like eventually once it did get a couple of streams, it's probably because of the Spotify algorithm, not because of the TikTok. Yeah.
I mean, dude,
he said, screw this, I'm going to start TikTok live streaming. He did like the battles, and he was making more money off that for a little bit than he was music.
Classic. Well, that's funny, man. I mean, that's good for him regardless. Like, even to be able to have a video that hits like that, so many artists want even just that to happen one time.
Yep.
Yeah, what would you say right now, like, is, because bro, you have seen, not only been in the music game a while, you have seen different sides, multiple different sides of the music game, especially at this point. Right now, for somebody, maybe not only just as a producer, but yeah, people as, like, let's say an artist, what type of advice would you have for them? Let's say they are like skilled. Let's say we're kind of past that point, or skilled enough, maybe not like the best in the world, but skilled enough, like they make good music. What kind of options do they have nowadays? Because we did just talk about, obviously we didn't go too deep, but like the content game's kind of changing. We don't really know, it's not like the Wild West anymore, which is okay. I mean, it's always changing, but what kinds of things can they do? And it sounds to me like location is pretty key.
No, I mean, well, I guess the internet, they're two separate worlds. It's like the internet game where you like send loops out or sell beats online. Like that's still very much a thing. And I'm uploading 2 YouTube beats a week. Like I'm really trying to, I think my two little niches are like the country thing. It's still a little undersaturated. And then like the more recent like R&B indie pop, Justin Bieber, like Dijon McGee kind of thing. I'm trying to like, so I have 2 separate channels to capture those 2 lanes. And I went really like hard on my thumbnail. And by the way, those channels are doing terribly right now. I'm still trying to crack the code on that. But because as soon as I change my thumbnails, I feel like I like the browse features, like subscribers are clicking less. And I don't know, I'm trying to navigate that world, but it is very much still a thing. And that's how I even got my most recent placement with Sierra the Rapper, is just finding a country beat on YouTube. But like, honestly, this is going to sound potentially out of touch, and this advice might even be irrelevant 6 months from now. But I think simply put, bend the knee, because we keep talking about like this deal happened and this label wants this to happen. It's just like, do what the platforms and the labels want you to do, because like a very simple thing that I just mentioned is like TikTok battles. TikTok themselves really wanted battles to be a thing, and so they were going to push that. So do the thing that's trending and do what the like Big Brother wants you to do, because it's going to get pushed naturally in the algorithm. So I don't know, like I hate this. Like my whole thing right now with my artist content is just to find what other people are doing that works and copy it. I don't have this like crazy like need to be like original as an artist outside of my music. The music will speak for itself. That's original. I don't care if the content is. I don't really care so much to build a brand, because I'm not trying to build an artist brand. I just want the songs to speak for themselves, and I want to be discovered by the people who actually appreciate the music. And I think that that's kind of something that a producer can do more so than an artist. And so I'm just like finding what works, and then like, yeah, if you can put your own spin on it, that's great. But I just think that like it is very controlled right now, and so you kind of have to go with the current.
That's great advice. I mean, honestly, that's great advice. And I was hearing something similar too, where it was along the lines of the music will speak for itself, which I totally agree with, because the authenticity in music, you can't fake that. And when people hear it, the right people, like you said, it'll stick. It always sticks.
After thinking about what I said, it's just like, I kind of realized it's so nihilistic, but everyone that you hear with these clips on social media, everyone's saying like, yeah, the game's never like what do they call them? Not guardians, like the gatekeepers in the music industry are down. Like things like SoundCloud existed and like give the opportunity for the independent artists to be successful. And it's just like that's what everyone's saying. And I'm just gonna go against the grain here and say that like I think we have an illusion of control, and I think that it's so nihilistic and like negative to say this glass half empty. I think we have all these platforms that we've been given the opportunity to give ourselves a platform for, and then the industry, so to speak, just took it right back. I don't think that everyone's right about this. Independent artists streaming is dying. Whatever the labels and like the big companies like TikTok or even Spotify want to happen will happen, or whoever has the most money of them. It's really a corporate war. That's what's going to happen. It's not going to be, yeah, we're rebelling against the industry. Like, yeah, we should do what we can. We should do our part. But I just, in terms of like me giving advice to people, it's just like, I don't know. I don't think we should kid ourselves about who's in control.
I will say, like, some of the conversations I have had with people is just basically, man, 30, 40 years ago, it would not have been this, I don't want to say easy to build a career in music, but it was not the same.
Sure.
And they'll argue with me on that. And they're like, oh man, it's the worst time ever to be an artist. They've killed everything. They've destroyed everything. If you're looking at like top charts and that's all you listen to and all you hear is the TikTok sounds and that's it. And the main sounds, you're not even, for me, I have a musical algorithm, so I'll get, new artists and stuff. I think some of the best music of all time is being made right now. It's just that no one's hearing it. There are tons of great, amazing songs with literally under 1,000 plays. And it's literally some of the best music ever.
But you'd be surprised how many people's like lives, or I guess you shouldn't be surprised. Maybe you're not surprised, but like not everyone's life revolves around music, and that was like a weird thing for me to grasp. Is too. It's like even the people that really like music, they're just their TikTok isn't showing them new artists. Like their TikTok is showing them like James Charles.
No, you're totally right. The idea of just playing the game as it is, and honestly, if I really look back at history, at least, I feel like that's a pretty sound advice. There's even the most successful people that I know in the industry or in music, at whatever given point in time, they had to play the game, whatever it was, and they had to play as it was.
Yeah.
You can get unique and step out of it, but like, there are levels to which you do have to play it.
I want to preface too, I'm very aware that I might just not be creative enough. Like not even to talk down on myself, but like the best thing to do is still to just like Connor Price is a great example. Like the skit thing is over, but he's still producing like insanely creative content. He just had like a video where he was like performing a song where he's bouncing a ping pong ball to the rhythm of a beat, and he has like a hawk fly onto his hands. So, like that's still the best thing you can do. And like obviously he has the resources to do things like that. But yeah, it's. I'm saying this is somebody who's maybe just not creative enough. And so I think a lot of people just want to focus on making the music. So if that's you, maybe that applies to you. A lot of people nowadays, like the people that say this is the worst time for music, that like they're saying because not enough time is being spent on the music and a lot of time and money is being spent on the other things. So if you're not that person, if you don't think that, then maybe my advice isn't for you. I just wanted to say like, I'm not going to spend time and figure out, or money trying to figure out how to crack the algorithm, because that's not me.
Right.
Well, a lot of people nowadays are saying like the entertainment value is going to come from like live music and things like that. But also I don't read too much into that because I have no desire to perform live ever in my life. I'm a studio musician down to my core. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. You have to put something on people, in front of people's eyes, that they are entertained, and the music probably isn't enough to do that anymore, unfortunately. Yeah.
Even way back when type beats were a thing, it was, well, I'd say they're still a thing. I still have a channel that I'm uploading to. I made a new tool that it's like finicky, but it uploads for me and like figures out certain, tags and stuff, titles.
Damn, people caught onto my wave. I thought I was ahead of the curve. Like I didn't realize how many producers were like really into AI. I've got the Claude Max membership, and I've got it doing competitor analysis for me and everything.
Fire.
With recently too is like AI is kind of the trend right now. That's me going like with the grain, and it's like it's still only so much it can do. Like I had it run a competitor analysis. I like had it go over my entire channel. Like it literally like picks my tags for me every video based on like what's working and what's not. And a video could still get 200 views. It's like there's only so much that you can do within the trends.
Other people are putting out plugins regardless, even if it's them not coding it.
Yeah.
But now I think we're probably going to see more. The question is, how will they perform? I don't know. I'm excited to see mine. I actually want to learn like the DSP and stuff, but I haven't seen any vibe coded plugins yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, that I've thought about that. Like, could I make a VST? But then I obviously decided that this is the big thing with AI. It's supposed to save you time, right? But if I have to learn the ins and outs of how to code, for example, a VST or even competitor analysis, right? It's like, am I saving time, or am I just wasting time on this? Because then I get a PowerPoint presentation back from Claude that says, oh, okay, like there's a lane in this keyword, and these people own these. Well, I already know that. Like it's not telling me anything I didn't know.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for giving us your time, bro. I'll let you go.
All right, man. Peace.
Hello. You've made it all the way to the end. First of all, shout out to you. Second of all, I appreciate you heavy. Even if you skipped all the way through, that's much appreciated. And as a token of my appreciation, here is 75% off of Zenith Gallery. It's only going to last till the end of this month. But if you're seeing this later and you still want that code, you're curious about it, just hit me up. We'll sort you out. Zenith Gallery is where all my sample packs, preset banks, any producer tool to help you and other creatives create, that's where that stuff's going to be. A lot of effort, attention, love, care has been put into those products. So that's what's going to be on there. Currently, my beats are also on there, but that'll probably change shortly. We have full episodes of The Pinnacle every week. And if you haven't seen any of the other episodes, those are absolutely worth a shot. Tons of gems in there as well. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.